Hello, this is what I'm going to call interesting pocket watch / clock day. So what I have here in front of you and me is a very interesting pocket watch. I bought this at an estate auction, and it's kind of interesting. It's in a leather case. I've got it kind of opened up a little bit right now, but they would take this and stand it up. Let me just close it and stand it up kind of like that, and so it could double as sort of a clock that you would put on your shelf. And then when you open it up, this is kind of cool. There you go. You open it up, it sits in a nice little pocket here. I've already taken the back off because there's a hinge issue, but it looks kind of like this, and this is the case here, which is kind of cool, and nice vampire kind of color here. So maybe Bela Lugosi, Count Yorga, or Dracula, or one of those guys owned this, so he probably kept it in his coffin at night so he'd know what time it was, so he could get up at the right time and not miss the evening of events. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is take this apart here. So I took the back off already. There's a hinge here that's broken, so I need to figure out if I'm going to repair this and how I might repair it. The only writing on this, I haven't found anything on the movement yet, is Argentan, 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 right there, and then let's see if I can zoom in there, Argentan, and then Swiss on the bottom. So Argentan and then Swiss, which is kind of an odd thing, and a number. So I looked up Argentan, and it turns out they made all kinds of stuff. So this is a really interesting pocket watch / this is massive too, even compared to my the big pocket watches. Like, this is a stopwatch over here. Look at the difference in size. Thing is massive. So I'm just going to put stuff aside here. Just realized I have two little miniature jewels right here in a setting, so I move those right to the end because I'll lose those if I don't. Alright, so opening up the dust cover, this is what the movement looks like, and this movement is Swiss movement, and it's got the atypical remove the stem screw in here. And what's cool about this is the balance actually moves, right? And when I put a little bit of pressure on the center wheel here to see whether this thing will actually work, just get this in here nice and easy. This is the wrong thing to use, so just reach over. Pardon me for reaching. I put a little pressure on the wheel here. I can get this to start ticking. So, or I think I can get it to start ticking. No, wrong way. I did earlier anyway. Yeah, anyway, I did get this thing ticking earlier, which means the balance staff is good on this, so I was a little worried about that. Now, I haven't taken this apart yet at all, so I'm making some bold assumptions here that I got to, I'm going to just get a bunch of screwdrivers out here so I don't have to reach for them. I'll talk lightly too, so I just lay them down here so I don't have to reach over. And I'll talk lightly, like using my golf talking, right? And I've taken the power off this. Let me just make sure the power is completely off the pocket watch. Just twist it up like that a bit, and pull this back, and yeah, the power's out now. And Gotta pay attention to camera angles here, because I got angles on both sides and I don't want my hands to block. So if I loosen the screw here, usually you can take the stem out. Just do this and then pull the stem right out. There it is there. And I'm just going to tighten this up just a bit so so it doesn't come all the way out. And then I'm going to flip this over, and I saw a groove here. I think this top of this case pops off. Now, this is a plastic crystal, so I'd really, if I get this thing working well, I'd really love to replace this with a glass crystal to do it justice, because it just moves around like this, and I don't want to take it off right now. But if I grab my super duper remover here, go high end on this. This is like the king of case openers, if there is a king. And I'm hoping I can just put this in the slot here. I saw something. I don't think this is a screw off for some reason, because the back is a pop on. Yeah, I think there's a little groove right here, and I think if I work this in nicely, I'll be able to just pop this off. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so there it is. Top's off. Put away the super duper opener. This thing works so well. It's like the king of openers. Put it back on my shelf here, so all of the other openers can be jealous. Alright, now I couldn't move the hands earlier, so I'm not going to bother trying to do anything fancy to lift them out. But the first thing I noticed here with these hands, if you look at that, it's what you call piss poor installation. This thing is poking upward direction here, like that. So that's kind of crappy. So let me see if I can. I'm not sure if I can zoom in with this camera or not while I'm still recording. Just stop recording for a second, see if I can zoom in. Anyway, as I was saying before, the hands kind of popping out a little bit, and this hand actually just dropped off. Well installed, my friends, well installed. So anyway, I just put all this stuff away, and I'm going to use plastic to take this off because I don't want to scratch stuff, but maybe it's just going to fall off as well. So let me see if I can take this off. Yeah, there we go. And while I'm at it, see if the second hands come off nicely too. There we go. And to pick those up, just so I don't scratch the top, just take a chunk of Rodico here. And take a chunk of Rodico and pick it up. Like so. And like so. There we go. And see if I can adjust my volume here. Test. Yeah. It's a little bit loud. Keep it in the green. Keep it in the green. Alright. So just turn the volume down just a bit here on the video. So put this over here. And you can see that friggin' plastic thing came off. And while I've got it solid in the face, facing up rather, if you just take some Rodico, you can get rid of a lot of the friggin' smudges and dirt and everything else while it's still in the case. That way you've got some support for it. And some of the stuff you just can't clean up this way, but a lot of it you can. You just have to do due diligence. Just have to keep scraping at it until some of the stuff comes off. You gotta be careful because you don't want to crack the crystal. There seems to be a little tiny hairline crack that goes from here all the way up through to here, so which gives it more of that Dracula look. I'm in a Dracula kick this morning, I guess. So there we go. And this also says has the name of the this Argentan watch. It also has its name there too. I'm not sure what kind of holder I'm going to put this in, but let me just get this out first. First of all, I'm going to reach over here and get one of my Scooby-Doo pads here, just so I don't mess this up. See, it's nice and comfy there. And now I've got to under my skin. Never sing while you're doing watch repair. So first things first, remove the screws here. Probably the camera over here would be much better, but then my hands are in the way there, so that's why I got two camera positions, which is unusual. Probably would have been better to take a bigger blade to do this, but that's one. And two. That's two. Again, it's really hard to do this and videotape at the same time, so if you see me screw up on this at all, then that's why. Oh, this thing should have just dropped out, so it's just not dropping out, so I have to pound it out. It's a pretty tight fit in there. There we go. Dropped out. Lucky I had this little pad here. It was a landing pad. So there's the case, which is kind of neat. It's actually in pretty good condition. And here's this little device here that's used for hand setting. You push that in. Now that wasn't working. And that presses down. Let me just move this over here for a second. See if I can keep my fingers away from the balance. And there it is there. So that presses down on this little jobby-do right here. You just give me a close-up. Give me a close-up. Give me a close-up. There. Sometimes you can get a decent close-up, and sometimes you can't. The thing just doesn't focus that well. Anyway, there's a little arm in there, and that pushes that arm in, which helps you set the hands. And it didn't look like it was actually working, so just kind of, I can feel it going in though, and yeah, that just sets the hands. Anyway, I gotta actually check the focus on the focus again to make sure I got a decent focus. To do that, I just put my other glasses on, look at the screen, and say, is that focused, yay or nay? That's out of focus, that's in focus. Alright, there we go. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. It'd be nice if I could zoom in on this one here, but anyway, you'll see what I'm doing. That's why I got two cameras going. I just have to make sure I'm in the center. So as I babble along, as I make this video and then continue to babble. So I've never taken one of these movements apart before. That's my disclaimer, which means anything could happen. So I've taken the power off this movement. So the first thing I'm going to do as a good trooper is remove the balance cock, because I don't want to hurt the balance at all, because the balance is in impeccable condition. I'll keep it on this pad for now, but I can't seem to, I don't think I got a movement holder that's this big. It's massive. Alright, there's the screw for the balance, and the balance looks like it was going to come right out. So just remove it like this. Nice and easy. And then like that. And because I really don't want to suspend it from the balance, I'm going to flip that over like so. Make sure the balance is just sitting there. Like this, and then I'll check the pivots and the rest of it later. But I gotta be very careful here. I don't want to drop this or ruin it or anything. There's the balance anyway. So it's kind of cool. I'll just put this aside and check that out later. I was going to put it on this, but I don't want to hang it by the. I don't want to hang it by the mainspring. Not yet, anyway. So there we go, and as you can see, I just touched this here, and the pallet fork's nice, working nicely. And I always take photos of this, of a new movement when I basically take it apart, just so it doesn't, nothing happens. I noticed something here about the wheel. Oh, very interesting. There's what's screwing it up right there. If you notice, I'm going to see if I can zoom in on this because this is kind of important. And this could be a challenge to fix. So there we go. Now you see how bent the center wheel is? It's actually bent down, which means I've got to flatten it somehow, which I'll probably do on my staking set. So that's pretty nasty. That's preventing it from actually working. So it was it's pretty nasty. It looks like somebody basically, and it looks like a punch mark on the top, but I guarantee you that wasn't me who did that. So it's pretty shitty bend in there. I'll see what happens, see if I can fix that bend. Turn that off for a second. That is why the thing isn't working. That is really interesting. Kind of love these kind of problems because they show themselves well. So this is, think of a single finger bridge right here on this movement, and see right there, and that's for the escapement. I'm going to take that off. I like to take things off that I'm worried about hurting or damaging or anything like that. Like when I took the balance off earlier, you don't want to mess with stuff like that. So I tend to remove those parts that I'm worried about. And this is not coming up. It's because I had my screwdriver wasn't even in the right place. If I take it from the inside or the edge, it's probably the best thing to do. There we go. That's lifting it up there. And you just put your screwdriver in the side here, like this, and then twist it. And then that'll remove it. You don't want to bend the pivots on the wheel that it's dealing with. So, and I don't know if I can take this out without removing the other wheel. I very carefully move it. No, I don't think I can. I'm just going to leave this where it is until I can take this plate off here. So let me just remove this plate first. This cushion is pretty good actually because I can put some downward pressure on there and I'm not too concerned. Now I should really remove the face, but I don't want to do that yet. I want to take a look at that wheel, see how screwed up it is. because if I can fix the wheel and put power onto it, I can see whether the movement was spin freely. So job 1 will be fixing the flat wheel. Job 2 will be seeing if the movement can move freely, and then job 3, clean the thing, clean the watch, and then from there I'll just get this thing open up. There we go. And then there we go. Take that plate off. I'm going to hold that upside down. The other thing you have to do is examine all the jewels after you've completed that. And again, I'm going to take another picture of this just so when I put the gears back, I know what pinions are up and which pinions are down, and I don't have to memorize anything. So I just bring the photo up and go, okay, that's how we do it. That is my recommendation for watch repair, because if you don't do that, you end up having to figure out what's up and what's down and why, right? So just put these gears down here, get them out of the way, and there's a big pinion on that one. Look at the size of that mother of all pinions. It looks like it's been oiled all to hell. If I look closely at this movement, I can see oil everywhere. Is this thing focused again? It starts sounding like Gun Special. You got to swear more, I think, when you're doing watch repair. Yeah, it's generally focused. It's okay. And see if I can get close up on this. No, yes, maybe. There we go. And there's oil collected in there. You can see stripes of oil that are leaking downward. And the amazing bent wheel. Get this thing back in focus. Spending my morning making a video. Took some days off of work to catch up on my watch repair and do stuff. So that is really bent. It actually looks like somebody pounded it with a punch. There's a punch mark in there. That would definitely prevent this movement from doing anything. So I got to take the face off. Then I got to remove the cannon pinion, and then I got to remove this gear here. And I'm hoping my little tiny hebdomas tool will work to remove that gear, because if it doesn't, I think I got to make another tool. But these guys are really nice. They would have, oh, I think that almost fits. This is a tool I made earlier to remove the mainspring on a hebdomas pocket watch, so it kind of almost fits. If not, I have to use a pair of pliers and put them in like that. But first things first, there's a chance I can lift the whole thing up too, even because the barrel is over this, and I might be able to lift it up with the barrel. But let me look on the side and see if there's a way of removing the oh, this is a Swiss watch, I just remembered. So to remove a Swiss watch, being half Swiss, I should know these things, but you get these little screws here that are they're cammed. So the cam basically holds the face on. You just remove that, remove this, and then you can push down on this, and the face should just fall out. It hasn't been out in a long time though, so this could be I need to get my famous watch removal stuff. There we go. There's the face, and there's the plate. It actually looks like it's in pretty good condition. So I'll put this over yonder, as they say. And before I start farting with the back, let me just remove a couple of components here so I don't they don't lose them later. It's pretty gummy. And this usually comes out as well. Be very careful when I remove it. There we go. And there's the cannon pinion, so I will have to put this in some kind of a movement holder right now to to remove the cannon pinion. So let me grab a big movement holder and see if it works. This is one of these Anchor movement holders, and it's pretty big. So I should be able to stretch it out, and I'm not sure if I got enough plate to grab onto here, but if I just sort of estimate. Yeah. Oh my God. World's biggest movement holder. That's why you take out the mainspring and all the rest of that before you start farting with this stuff. There, it's in there semi-good, I think. Let me have a look. It's pushing a bit on the plate here, so I don't want to put too much pressure on there. I could just drop it down a bit, and then it's just touching the plate. Let me see if that works. Not yet. Oh my God. No, that ain't gonna work. I just need to put a little tiny bit of pressure on it, not a lot. Alright, get rid of that for a second. There it is there. I don't have that locked in big time because I'm kind of concerned about squishing it. So that's the movement there. And like I said before, I'm going to take a quick picture of that. And that is just get some picture of the keyless mechanisms. And that's just so I can not have to use my memory. Not that it's poor, it's just why bother? Use something else. And now I've got to very quickly find my cannon pinion removing tool. I should just pause the video while I hunt for this. I could tell you a joke, but I found it. There it is, all ready to roll. It's funny, I haven't gotten a phone call yet to bug me this morning. But alright, so there's the cannon pinion remover tool. It's pretty darn good. And I should just be able to, I'm always saying should just be able to because I'm never sure whether this will work or not. But I just grabbed the end of this. Just have a look here. See if that'll actually grab it. It's having a problem going deep. I thought I had it there, but I didn't. I'm going to get in there again and see if I can grab this. And if I can't, I could use technique number 2. Looking at the mouth in this thing, and it's not easy. You gotta kind of grab the thing and then just hope for the best. I'm trying to get it into the inner mouth, but it doesn't seem to be working. The problem I've found with these kind of cannon pinions is that they're smooth, so they're hard to grab with tweezers and pull up. Sometimes you actually have to punch it out. I don't really want to do, but if I have to, I will. And probably would happen to break the other thing anyway. Anyway, I'm going to turn the video off for a second while I remove this, that way I don't waste time. I'll start it again in a second. So what I've decided to do before I remove the cannon pinion is to take some of these plates off. I wish this tool fit. I think it's a little bit, it's not wide enough to fit. I don't really want to bend it, because it's just almost fitting. Then I have to use a pair of pliers to do this. Interesting dilemma. Dilemma. So what I'll do is take this off. I turn the movement around so when I put pressure on the screw here, it doesn't flip the movement. I remember I used to do that a lot back in the day. I'm not sure whether this is clockwise or counterclockwise. Oh, look at that. So it screws in the other way. Sometimes that depends on which side the friggin' thing is on, I think. But anyway, sometimes they screw in the other way and sometimes they don't. But in this case, they do. I think the whole thing is coming out, which is fine. Yeah, just rest that on the side and then pick it up with my pair of pliers, tweezers. There's the works right there. I don't want to lose that. That's being held in by this. So I can just, once I remove this plate, I can pick the whole darn thing up, I think, and then remove it. But I may have a problem trying to get all this out with this wheel where it is. So I don't know. I really wish I could remove this wheel. I'm going to go see if I can find a pair of pliers. I'll be back. So I have no choice but to adjust my tool. So there's the tool here. And give me a close-up. There's in there. I've got a pair of tweezers. These will not, or pliers, these will not fit into those holes. This will, but I've got to spread it ever so slightly. But I could use a punch to do this, but I have this other pair of pliers here that they're tapered round, and I think if I just hit the edge of this tool like this, I could widen that, right? Something broke. Let me see if that fits. Oh, so close. I may have to pound a little harder. Hate pounding on anything like this, but so be it. Sometimes you just got to do some pounding. Normally I go down in my basement and do this because I'm a little worried about breaking something here. So stuck in there. Let me see if I got any more width out of this. Oh man, I think I do. Nope. Is that in? Oh, that is so friggin' close. Just a bit more, I think, and then I may have found my solution. I know that there's going to be crap falling off desks and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, I'm going to pause and then pound and then come back. Here I've reverted to using my staking set, a stake that's tapered, and I'm going to see if this works. It's tooladjustment.com. Just make sure my hammer is tight on both sides, and then pound down. I think this will work better. Of course, I'll have to squeeze it the other way if I have another Hebdomas pocket watch to repair. Let me see if this fits. Oh man, it's so close. So close. Try again. Need to pound harder. Pound harder! Need to come on to it. Just trying to see what I'll break when I do this. This is what it looks like, in case you're curious. I'm trying to... I need more light probably here, but more focus. More focus. And I just pound down on this. Great vegan Vimmer. Just to try to spread these little arms. I like when it's stuck in there because that means it's moving a bit. Come on, work. I don't want to go down the basement and get my Frankenstein hammer out and all that kind of crap. It's close. You can see it moving there a bit, eh? I think I'm going to have to go down to the basement and then come onto this thing with some serious pressure. Alright, forget pounding, forget trying to spread it, forget everything. What I ended up doing was taking my handy dandy 400 grit diamond plate and just going on the tips a bit and taking a little bit off of this side and taking a little bit off of this side because it was ever so close. And now it fits into the movement. So if I just see what I can do here, let me see where's the best place to be. If I can just go down here and see if I can rotate that. Look at that, eh? So there we go. And it comes right off. And it worked. So again, all I did was shave a little tiny bit of material off that. I didn't have to take off a lot, just a tiny bit. So it's still good for my hebdomos tool for removing those parts. So that's kind of cool. So that worked nicely. I did go downstairs and do some pounding, but at the end of the day, pounding was not required. So there. Now this gear is nice and free, but I'm going to remove the rest of this and take this plate off completely to give me some freedom to get that gear out properly. Another thing I do is always group my screws with the plates in case I have a memory lapse again. Lots of pictures, lots of screws grouping with plates. And when I clean the movement, I know where the screws go. Generally they're the same size for the various types of plates, so it's not that bad if you kind of screw it up. So this one here seems to be very shallow, the screw here, as opposed to the other ones. So this one here is shallow, so I have to remember that the shallow one goes there. So what I'll do, just to help with my memory, is I will take a marker of the appropriate redness. And I'm going to mark this right here, and then I'm going to mark the screw on the top just a bit there, just so I remember that short screw goes in there. The other thing is I'm making a video, so I can always play the video back and go, oh, look at that, that's how I did it. So that's the other way of doing it. The other thing is I want to always take a picture of the inside of the movement, of the keyless mechanisms and the gears and stuff, just so I, again, it makes it easier for reassembly and blah blah blah. Plus it's pretty cool to have all these pictures. So there you go. So now I should be able to just pop this plate up with any luck. SC movement. Make sure nothing's holding it back from coming out. Not sure if there's anything holding it back, but it should come right out nicely. You can feel some pressure. Oh, there we go. So that's out now. And yeah, that's that plate there. And I can just grab these winding mechanisms here and put that aside, and I'll check the teeth on that. I think there's, I don't know, looks like there might be more issues here, I'm not sure. No, that's okay. I got to examine the teeth because there was an issue winding that on the other wheel, so I don't want that to become a big problem. So there's the mainspring out, and then I'm going to be a good boy and take out the pallet fork so we don't F that up. And again, just enough pressure so you don't want your screwdrivers to slip. That's nasty when that happens, because that can cause all kinds of other problems. So, and there's the pallet fork. Just put that up there and take the screw out too. And again, as I said before, and I said many times, doing a video the same time you're doing this work is difficult. So there we go. I think I need to unscrew this screw a little more than that. There we go. And sometimes I'll just pick these up with Rodico, like I said, because you don't want to lose them. The other thing is, don't put a lot of pressure on your tweezers, because if you put a lot of pressure on your tweezers, there's a high probability of the tweezers going for a ride. I'm going to move this camera up just a bit here so I can work over here just a bit more, a little closer. Again, there you go. Hopefully that's again in focus for that. And I just have to edge this out. And all you do is you put your tweezers where the crack is, and you move them back and forth just slowly. And that will take that out, that plate for the pallet fork. And like I said before, I'm going to examine all the jewels a little later. And I take the pallet fork out, directly out, have a look at that too. And I've got this pretty much stripped down, with the exception of the keyless stuff on the back end and the amazing bent wheel. The amazing bent wheel. Let's see if I can show that again. There we go. That's the amazing bent wheel. Man, that's bent. It pisses me off that somebody would bend that like that. So I got to figure out how to flatten that out somehow. That's the amazing bent wheel. So now I've got the plate in the condition where I could probably remove the I'm going to make sure I don't squeeze this thing in the wrong place. Another thing is, I don't want to bend any parts, but this little bugger is hard to remove. It seems to not want to come out, and these things are slippery as hell, so sometimes I just pound down on that just a bit, because I can pound down on it just a bit without worrying about bending anything. But just look in the back end here and say, okay, am I gonna screw things up if I pound on that too hard? Probably not. So you don't want to screw on the, you don't want to. There we go. So it went down a bit. I'm not sure if that is liftable, uppable. I could try my hand removers here and put a little upward pressure on the wheel, like so, just to get the hand removers underneath. And then once I got the hand removers, the leverage might help me pop this cannon pinion up. Look at that, eh? That is a brilliant move. Brilliant. Ta-da! The cannon pinion is now out. I should zoom in even more on this other camera just so you can see things going on, right? So that's the cannon pinion. I'll put it, actually usually I put the cannon pinion in where the screws are. I'll put it over here though, because I can find it easily. And there's the guilty gear. The guilty gear from hell. And I'll just flip this around, put it back in the movement holder, so you get a play-by-play if you subscribe to my videos, and I get to watch how I took it apart, and then I can criticize on my stupid comments. So I need to have more jokes, so I need to be able to tell a good joke every now and then. So that worked. So that's all you do is you tap on the top, but you got to make sure the gear is clear, and you got to make sure you don't tap too hard. I've used a punch before, because if you use a punch, then the force is directed, and you don't accidentally pound on the plate. This is a pretty thick plate, so I don't think there's going to be an issue with that. So the cannon pinion remover in this case, this movement was way too big for that. So it's worked a million other times, but this time not so much. This was a good move. Just loosen it just a bit, and then get underneath it, and then use the leverage, man. Use leverage. So there, that's that. So now I got to figure out, the next step is to take the amazing bent wheel, which is right here, and figure out how to make that an amazing not so bent wheel. Let me see if I can get a close up on that again. There's the amazing bent wheel. Look at the bend on that thing. So I might be able to put that in the staking set and then use my tool to flatten around, because I got to be very careful. I don't want to unhinge it from the actual the shaft or staff, and I don't want to damage the pinion, and I want this thing to be back into working condition. And it looks like all the gears are, the teeth and the gears are fine, which would have been my next concern, right? See if if my teeth had issues, then that would have been a bigger issue. So they don't seem to have issues. So that's that. And so I've got an anvil here, and if I look at that on the anvil, it looks like that actually shows it really nicely. So, but I got to decide whether I'm going to use my stake or whether I'm going to use my hammer. Probably use my stake here and just try to bring it down a bit. I'm going to turn this the other way and see if it bevels the other way. That way I can, yeah, there it is. So you can see it's flat right here, and then all the way around here, and then this side on the other side is up a bit. So if I just pound down on that a bit, it might flatten it a little bit. See if I did a good job here. Oh, that's not too bad. Look at that. That looks flat as hell. And let me see. I look at it at an angle and then I rotate it with my hand like this. I can see whether I've achieved the goal. And that's pretty darn good right there. It goes up just a little bit right here, so I can just tap that down a bit. And I think that did it. So, yeah, if you look sideways there, that looks like that gear is flat now. So I think stage 1 of the fix the watch is complete. So I'll pick that up and show you a little close-up of the gear now. Just look at it like this. It still looks like there's some movement here, some angle thing happening here. I'm going to make sure this is completely flat on the horizontal as well. It looked good from the other side, but from this side it looks like it's up a bit. Hard to say. Flat or flat enough? That's the question. That is the question. Alright, I'm going to stop this for a second so I can have a quick look at it. So my final option to determine whether this thing is true or not, true to flat, is to spin this in a lathe and just have a look at it. And I can spin it in a lathe and then put a piece of wood, probably just place a piece of wood on my tip over tool rest and use Rodico to hold it there, and then just see how close the gap is between the wood and the gear itself. So it's like Watchcraft truing calipers. It's the same thing, except I can't get the end of this into a truing caliper. So I'm going to spin this on a lathe and have a look at it and see whether that's flat enough. So I spun it on a lathe, looked at where the high point was, and I marked it in red right here so I can see that, and I know that if I just hit here, it might serve the purpose of flattening it out. So this is really tricky stuff. Tricky. So you don't want to pound down something that doesn't need pounding down. Oh, there we go. That's not too bad there. It's flat and then it goes. Yeah, it's not too bad. Not sure if I need to pound that down anymore. I'll go all the way around the thing again just to make sure I got complete flatness. Flatness of flatness. And this is a perfect way of doing it. Just to watch where I put my punch. You don't want to punch where the gear attaches to the pinion, because you could have other problems arising from that. This could just do the trick here, and I just call it a day, because it is the arms that cause this to be flat, not the that's pretty good there. It's not a bad job. Sorry to bother you with all this gear flattening stuff, but in case you have the same problem at some point in your life, that looks pretty darn good right there. So now the question is, if I assemble this again, see if it ticks, I may have solved my problem, and then I can go about cleaning it and everything else. If it doesn't tick, then it could be a different problem. As you can see, I cleaned the watch and now I got another problem. The teeth on this gear are completely gone. This is the gear that ends up turning the time setting mechanism that gives you your hours and minutes and everything else when you set the watch. So these have been ground right down to nothing. So there's a pinion on the other side of this gear, so I'm in a little bit of trouble here. I gotta find another gear like this somehow, because I don't believe I can fix that. So I think I gotta find another gear, so it's on the hunt for gears. This is my gear hunting box, where I've got basically boatloads of gears, but I'm not sure whether any of these gears will fit this particular gear, and I've got to go look through all this and see if there's anything at all. If there's not, I got to ask around, but I'm just going to do a little bit of praying and see if there is. So we'll check that, come back a little bit later. Alright, it's time to fish or cut bait. So I looked up the Goliath pocket watch, which is what this is. This gear, I put a bid in for a bunch of these minute wheels to see if I could find a replacement minute wheel. But in the meantime, I'm going to leave the minute wheel out, so the time setting mechanisms won't work. But I'll reassemble the movement and make sure the movement actually works based on me flattening out this gear here, which was one of the main issues of the movement actually not working. So it looks very, very good right now. As you can see, it's pretty flat. So I'm going to reassemble this, and it may take me some time to get another one of these gears, but you know, time's of the essence. And this is my little pocket watch. I bought this watch for 20 bucks. So it was on an online estate auction, and 20 bucks, and they sell for around $300 to $500 with the beautiful, with this case here, right? So it's this vintage case. I also need to do a little bit of repair on this case because there's a nail put in here, so I guess this is wood, and see if I can show that here. And so that needs to be repaired because that's hurting bad. So there we go, a little bit better view. So I got to fix that too. So I'm going to reassemble this and then see if it works, and I won't bother recording that part. Alright, partially reassembled. First stage of the reassembly. So I've got the winding mechanism in place, and I've got the plate here in place. So I'm just going to continue on with reassembling the watch. Shouldn't be too tough. Just put the parts in and hope for the best, and then carry on from there, right? So just see how well that works. Assemble this part of the watch. I need to use my special tool again, which is kind of neat, and just have to put it in like that and then rotate it a bit till it's tight. I don't think I have to tighten it up too much. There we go. That's fairly tight, like that. And then I just need to make sure I put these other parts in the right way. And it's good to put some oil on these parts too, like on the plates, because sometimes it gets pretty nasty. So just going to plunger that in, and it depends on the thickness of oil you plan on putting down, but there we go. And that'll spread nicely once the gear is in place, like so. And then I grab this part here, and it goes in like so. And I just align those up, and away we go. Is that right? Have to look at the picture, make sure that's right. Looks awful high, but maybe it's supposed to be that high. Not sure. We will see if it is. This is wrong screwdriver, but I'm going to try this anyway. And it's lefty tighty for this center righty tighty. Yeah, that's pretty good. So that's clicking away, and then I'll just work on the back part here. Okie dokie, another plate is in. I was lucky this time. So when I put the plates in, just as a tip, you lay the plate down and put one of the screws in really loose, and then line that center wheel, and then put the other screw in really loose, and then I use this pick I have here, and I got this at a hobby shop, and you just nudge the gears, and then once you get them in the right place, nudge, you check through the jewel to make sure the pivots are showing through, and if they're showing, all three are showing through, and you can check the bottom as well to make sure they're actually where they are, because you do not want to screw these down until the pivots are through, because you'll either break the jewel, break the pivot, break something. Once you've got it all settled in, then you can slowly tighten these, check it again, slowly tighten it, and then get it snug in there. So, and then to test it, all I do is hold the center wheel with my finger a bit, give it a few winds like that, and then let go. So, and that's moving. So that's nice. So it seems to be in good order. So let me see if I can move the light around a bit. It's tough. The lighting is tough, very tough. So, and I'm going to put in the escapement here, and then followed by the balance, not the balance, followed by the pallet fork. So I'll be back. There we go. That's in now. So one click of this watch. And look at that. Hope you can see that. And I'll try to bring it up to here so it's visible at this level. See if that focuses. That's it. One click. Look at that baby move. That's one click. That's actually pretty phenomenal. A little more trouble in paradise. It spins, but it stops at this point here, and I get a little bit of a nudge, and it goes forward. And it sometimes can get through that, depending on the pressure. And you can hear it go when it hits that point. It's got a strange sound, so it's got to be something to do with a gear or something. I'm going to keep looking into it and see if I can find the guilty party. Diagnosis complete. Watch now running. There was a set of teeth on the center wheel that looked like they were off just a bit, causing the watch to catch on the pinion. But I took a screwdriver and I adjusted the teeth just ever so slightly. And it looks like it's running through that spot without any problem this time. So, based on that, I'm going to put the rest of it together. Okay, there we go, ladies and germs. A working movement. So I got it going again. It's not doing too bad. Amplitude's not super good, but I still have to take off the cap jewel on the other side and clean that jewel up on this, and then it should work really well. So still need to do a little bit of balance work, but that's good enough for now. I haven't even put the cannon pinion back because I don't want to do any work on the face until I figure out how to get rid of that jewel or fix that the minute wheel here that's missing from the other side. But I got the movement running again, which is kind of cool. Thanks for watching. I won't bother doing the rest because I just have to reassemble it, and all I need to do is replace this minute wheel and then it'll be perfect again. No issue. I'm going to time it, probably do a little bit of work on the balance to give it a better amplitude, and away we go. Not bad for a 20 buck buy. Talk to you later. Okay, there it is, cased with the hands back on. So it's looking really nice. It's keeping time. The only problem is I can't set the time. So until I get this little tiny gear over here. So I'm just going to put it back together and search for the gear. Arr, she's all done and ticking. Arr. Got her back together again. I'll see if it's keeping time, but I can't set the time on it until I get that little gear. Anyway, there we go. All done. Arr.